Well, let's go back to the studio and we can hear the thoughts of Nicky Weaver, of Andy Morrison and Chris.
Thank you, Alistair. Yes, welcome to the Matchday Live post-match show. Pep Guardiola, handshakes for those beaten in red. A hug for Nuno Espirito Santo, for his captain Morgan Gibbs-White, who had two brilliant chances. One of them, stupendously good talent. The other one, Andy Morrison, I think you think cost Nottingham Forest dear. He went round the goalkeeper, and how many times out of 100?
Well, I can't put a number on it, but I am absolutely staggered. And he'll look at that back for probably the rest of his life and think how on earth he's missed that chance. The way the second half started with the early opportunity for Elanga, we knew they had to get better and they had to change things around. And they were, when they were a danger, but they committed the cardinal sin. You can't concede that second goal.
No, painful for Nuno Espirito Santo, painful for Nottingham Forest. We can take you back to Wembley, pitch side, with Michael Brown and FG. What a moment. Smiles all round for the two of them, and the jumper sustains for Brownie. FG, what a moment to be in the stadium.
Yeah, he's still wearing the jumper. He's still wearing the jumper.
I went to take it off now. Left. It's a lucky jumper. It's coming to the final, guys. It's coming.
Manchester City are through to the final of the FA Cup.
Rico Lewis.
Rico Lewis as well. Goal after 2 minutes.
Just knocks it straight in, gets it out your feet, sticks it in the corner. And that's it. Wonderful start to the game, wasn't it?
I think I've got...
what an afternoon, mate.
Yeah, what an absolute amazing afternoon. A great header as well by Josko Gvardiol to make it 2-0. Our opponent's Nottingham Forest. By the way, Josko's currently getting interviewed in the stadium as you can hear the cheers of our fans. If we pan over to our supporters who've been absolutely excellent here today, as the players also do a lap of honour.
How good was Josko Gvardiol, by the way, today? He had made one mistake, got a little bit fortunate, but he's defending. We talked about him at half-time, how good he was, and then he just rises, doesn't he? And that was the difference, wasn't it? On the set piece. Look at these guys coming round now. This is going to be really good in front of the supporters, isn't it?
No, this group of players have had a really tough year, but getting to a cup final is just proof that the mentality that these players have, you can never write them off. They've now once again given us another moment to savour. We are on the way back to Wembley for an FA Cup final.
That's what it's about. These players, they want medals, they want trophies at the end of the season. This is where the club, isn't it? It's not what it's expected. This is what's delivered. It's great scenes here. Right at the end, there's Jack Grealish with a little high five. He'd be delighted to get on the pitch, won't he, today and contribute. The younger players, Stefan Ortega as well, getting a run. So it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's moments we have to savour as supporters. It's been a difficult season, but this man, we just spoke about him before, he's absolutely brilliant. He's been brilliant all season. He's been brilliant at left back, and he really is a Rolls Royce of a centre half, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a really, really top player. But this guy here, how many times has he been in this situation? How many things has he won? So I know he knows. And look at the smile. He knows he's delivering again for the football club.
Well, he absolutely deserves everything he gets as well, because he's given
watch out for his bodyguard there, Ocon. You got to watch out there.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with Ocon, as you can see, but you can see how happy our supporters are as well. But look, another special day to be a Manchester City fan. Like I said, through thick and thin, these fans have followed us everywhere. It's not been an easy season, but we're still in the running for the Champions League positions, and we're now on the way to an FA Cup final against Crystal Palace.
You know what, you don't take it lightly, FG. It's getting into a final. That's the point. Can you win a trophy? It's history is made, isn't it? Keep winning them, keep knocking them off. And when you just walk around and you see this sort of environment, the celebrations, the players all getting interviewed still on the pitch, and we're very, very lucky, aren't we? We're fortunate to see these moments later on in games, and just to see the celebrations is fantastic.
Now Mateo Kovacic, man of the match today as well, and Rico as well, getting what he deserves as well. 2 minutes in, as he gives us a smile and a wave. 2 minutes it took him, and that's a confidence booster for him as well. But how good was Kovacic?
Look, even the celebrations from the Gallaghers has been good as well. Yeah, Kovacic set it off very, very early, drives into positions, like I said. He knows when to and when not to, doesn't he? I just think as well, do you know what's amazing about him? for what he's won and done. He just takes it in his stride. He's so humble, lovely person, real team player. Everybody learning from him. Nico O'Reilly's going to learn so much from him.
Yeah, absolutely. Nader Manua's somewhere as well behind us. He was very happy at full time as well. Look, Wembley once again is sky blue. It's been an absolute pleasure. Brownie, you're probably going to bring the jumper back, aren't you?
Got to, haven't I? The lucky jumper. It's going to go everywhere with us. It might even come to Southampton with us, FG.
Hopefully not. It's a long journey to have to
whatever
stay
you
next
do,
to
though, don't turn up with this suit on, whatever you do.
And there's Mini Brownie as well, by the way, just in the away
It was his birthday yesterday.
It was his birthday yesterday. Happy birthday to Mini Brownie.
He got a necklace, look, you can see.
And you know what? I tell you what, maybe you should get some fashion tips off him, because he's looking very smart.
He's looking sharp, and he's got the colour. See, that's
see,
what you
see what colour he's wearing. We're down with the kids, so to speak. Listen, thank you so much, Brownie, for all your great work. I hope you guys in the studio have had a great day. We'll see you again in a few weeks from Wembley.
Yeah, top work, FG, top work, Brownie. If you are going to take the jumper to Southampton, get down the dry cleaners, won't you? Because, you know, be a bit smelly if you keep it on unwashed. Come on. Top work from you two. Speaking of lucky jumpers, hey, three in a row.
Yeah, 3 in a row. It'll be going to the final as well.
You're going to wear that for the... Not going to do a cup final suit. You're just going to wear the jumper.
No, I'll keep with this. Nice and casual, exactly.
Look, there's loads of talking points to get into. I know, obviously, we've just had the immediate post-match reaction from pitch side at Wembley Stadium, but we could talk through the 2 goals. The first one came right at the start of the game, set the tone for Manchester City. Rico Lewis, first touch, control and finish. But it came from City just absolutely swarming the back line of...
Yeah, they started the game right on the front foot, just how Pepper wanted it. And yeah, they were swarming all over them. Great pass into him, great take from Rico. Straight in the bottom corner, keeper no chance, and that sort of set the tone then. And it sort of, you know, shell-shocked Forest a little bit, because they'd have probably wanted a bit of time to, you know, the last message from Nuno would have probably been first 10 to 15, keep it tight, and ultimately couldn't do that. And then the sort of game plan goes out the window a little bit. And they looked all at sea for the first 20 minutes, Forest. They couldn't find their feet, and I think they were quite fortunate to be only 1 down at half-time. We spoke at half-time about the second goal. It should have gone to Forest.
Really should.
With Elanga. I mean, it was almost like there was a hole in the net when we was watching it. It looked like it was in. You know, give a bit of credit to Ortega. He's spread himself, made him look big, which is really good at. But yeah, it should have been 1-1. And then obviously the second goal, it's a great ball in from, I think it was Marmouche, and rising highest was Gvardiol with a great header into the far corner. So yeah, could have been 1-1. And it was 2-0.
Yeah, Marmouche's corner was absolutely pinpoint, but the header was perfect. You were really angry as a defender, really angry at some of the marking. And I know, obviously, you've got your sky blue on, but at the same time,
absolutely,
you're just critical of the defender.
Yeah, listen, you're analysing it when you're a coach, and you're looking at the detail in it. And you know, there's a job for Gibbs White, and his job is to block Gvardiol, to allow the centre half of Forest to get a free run at the ball. Now, he does mistime it, but Gibbs White starts, and if you look at it again, and anyone who's watching the show, when they watch it tonight or watch it later, Gibbs White is looking into the eyes of Gvardiol, and then he drifts off with Diaz, which then allows the 3-step rule. You never allow an attacker of the ball 3 steps. 1, 2, 3, up. You can't stop it if you're jumping from a standing start. And it's perfect, and it's a brilliant header. But that tiny little detail that make the difference in football. And you look at how the second half panned out, and you know, it's 2-0. We're into a third final, but it seemed so different in the second half. How close it could have been if the football gods weren't shining on you like they were for us in the second half today.
Let's do a bit of full-time analysis. I think we can see your reaction as it happened. Look, he's furious. He's up there. He's at the screen. Look, watch your man.
It was where Gibbs White went, Chris. He switched off. You've been given a job to do. That's the danger. If it goes over your head and goes to Diaz, it's somebody else. But that tiny detail there is so important in football, and it changes the direction of the game. You know, that set play goal that they conceded, ultimately, I mean, I know it's 2-0, but you know, that felt at 2-0 that it's going to be hard for them to get back into it.
Yeah, so I mentioned sliding doors moment with the Elanga chance right after half-time. If he scores that, then who knows which way that game would have gone in the second half. But also, they hit the frame of the goal 3 times, Nottingham Forest. One of them was just incredible technique from Gibbs White. The other one, I think all 3 of us agree he should have scored. And then at Taiwo Awoniyi had a chance. Yeah. He hits the outside of the post.
I mean, like I said, the first one, unbelievable technique. You can see Gibbs White, he watches it come all the way onto his left foot, which is his wrong foot. makes a great connection. And, 3 or 4 inches lower, it's probably underside of the bar and in.
One of the goals of the season.
Yeah, we're all clapping, aren't we?
It would have been one of Wembley's great goals. Even it was a fantastic effort. And then his next chance that we sort of gifted him, it was Gvardiol who had a fantastic game, but he got nicked in possession and he rounded the goalkeeper. And he's just, I think Ali almost called it in commentary. It was in, but it was sort of the curl on the ball has took it across the line to the post and out. So 2-0. And it was strange because it sort of was a comfortable 2-0, but yet when you look at the chances, it wasn't, because, on another day, Forest could have had 2 or 3 easily, and then obviously the last one was a bit of a goalmouth scramble, and Owen, hit the outside of the post. And
there's a flash volley from him, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then it come back across, and Ortega's made a save, and so it could have been, listen, goals change games. And Forest didn't score a goal to change the game today. City got the 2 goals. Really good. They got the first one early. There's never a bad time to score a goal. But the second one as well, sort of, at the timing we got it, just sort of settled everyone's nerves. And then you knew Forest, they've got to get 2, and they never got 1. If they'd have got 1, it might have set up a grandstand finish. But ultimately, we kept the clean sheet.
And it's another clean sheet.
Yeah, which is a massive thing, because it's sort of gone out of football now, a clean sheet. But clean sheet's won of the game today.
Yeah, and I'll ask you as the goalkeeper in the studio here, if Edison, who was there today and he was warming up pre-match, if he's fully fit come, May the 17th for the cup final against Crystal Palace, does Ortega keep the gloves? It's not your decision, so it doesn't really matter.
What I'd say about the 2 goalkeepers is, obviously, I like them both. Edison is your out-and-out number 1. I think that's clear. But whoever plays, you're not weakening the team.
Yeah.
So, because they're both more than capable. I personally think he'll stick with Ortega, but then we might see Edison back in with the gloves on in the Premier League.
Ortega's played the last 2 finals.
Yeah.
That's the kind of way it's been selected.
Upkeeper, that's sort of how you keep him happy as a number 2, right?
Absolutely,
often. Yeah, so Pep's got some juggling to do potentially. One other thing, just to hoover up from the game, was the penalty shout that City had, that ultimately it doesn't matter at all, because from the resulting corner, Gvardiol scored the header. But we disagreed on this. I think this is a stick-on penalty. So if you haven't seen it yet, you'll get to see the highlights at some point. It's the young lad, isn't it, Zach Abbott. And to be fair to him, you're always told, get your hands out of the way. And he gets his hands behind his back. But they are so far, I'm just going to turn and see if the camera can pick it up, so far behind his back when the ball hits him. And if it doesn't hit his hand, the ball's going in the back of the net. To me, that's a penalty. Yeah,
listen, he's made himself bigger, hasn't it? I think he's trying to get his hands out of the way, but then they go too far. It's almost like he's skiing.
Yeah,
they go behind it. So I don't think he knows too much about it, but obviously VAR had a look at it and, didn't think it was. But yeah, it'd have been a harsh one, but if it was the other way, we would have been looking at it perhaps slightly different.
Maybe, Andy?
If it had been given, they're not overturning it. And the fact is, if he's there and he goes that way, I get it. But his body is there and his hands have kept going.
Yeah.
So for me, it's an unnatural position which he's created to make himself bigger.
Even though he's sort of doing the right thing.
They've gone beyond his body, haven't they? They've not decided, they've gone beyond his body.
To stop the ball.
But to reinforce my point, we talked about when you're attacking, if the ball even so much as brushes Erling Haaland's hand and then he sticks it in the net, regardless of whether it's deliberate, whether it's accidental, whether it's down by his side, whether it's above his head, it's always no goal. And this is the same, but at the opposite end of the field.
Yeah, it's subjective, isn't it, as well? But I'm glad it's not a sort of big hinging point of the game.
Because it didn't.
We scored from the resulting corner. Ultimately, it doesn't matter, and we want to be talking about City getting to another final, not
3 in a row, which is incredible.
Again, was it 7 semi-finals in a row? Now it's 3 finals in a row.
It's remarkable.
It's
remarkable. When we look back at the game as well, Chris, we won't, because of the way it panned out, we're not talking about that chance. We're not talking about Marmoush at the near post chance. We're not talking about the brilliant save from Marmoush on his left foot from the short corner where he took it across his body and pulled off a brilliant save. So there was number 3, 4, 5 really good chances that but they're highlighted because obviously they struck the woodwork in that. But the game was very evenly balanced in the second half. It was just them key moments where Forest switched off, and that's the finest detail in football. The first goal comes from they're switched off, no roles and responsibilities to deal with Rico Lewis, and then the detail on the corner. That's the margins that change a game of football, and they were on our side today.
Yeah, they certainly were. So it's Palace in the final. 5-2 win just the other day. Palace got off to a rip-roaring start, and City came flying back into that one. That brilliant long field assist from Edison in that game as well. will that help with confidence that City have had such a rollicking win in the end over Palace, or does that serve as a caution?
I think, City always go into games at the minute with caution because they have got that vulnerability, but at the minute we're getting the job done. We're on a good little run. Obviously a few games before the cup final. City will go in as huge favourites. Obviously Palace fantastic against Villa. With the amount of goals they won by and the performance. And they're missing a penalty. So it's going to be, one that City are favourites for, which, unless you're playing Liverpool, they're probably going to be favourites for every single FA Cup game they play. So it's a massive occasion for Palace, as it was for Forest today. I was driving in listening to the radio and it said, there's more Forest fans than City fans. And, if City fans have turned up late, Forest fans have been here all day, you can sense it. And I'm thinking, but that doesn't matter once you start, 90 minutes of football. Once you cross that white line, it doesn't matter, if there's more City fans or more Forest fans on Wembley way. Once you cross that white line, it's all about what happens then. And City were well drilled today. Pep got it exactly right tactically, and there's a bit of time between now and the cup final, but it's something great to look forward to, and it could be still an incredible season if you win the FA Cup, qualify for Champions League. It's a brilliant season. It's just the standard we have set ourselves is just out of this world, so it's still a brilliant season.
With it being Wembley as well, obviously a huge occasion for Forest today, so it's going to be even bigger for Crystal Palace. This is an unbelievable occasion for a football club, for Crystal Palace, for that moment, and one that they'll embrace. And it's going to be a brilliant final.
Yeah, they did a real job on Aston Villa yesterday. That was an upset victory, and how 3-0 and missed a penalty. Oliver Glasner in his first full season, a Wembley final, he's doing a terrific job at Crystal Palace. Yeah,
and they're quite exciting to watch Palace because you never know what you're quite going to get, but they're very attacking, people like Eze. A
lot of flair.
Yeah, and obviously Mateta's had a great season as well, so they've got a lot of flair, some real ball players in there. Down at Selhurst, I know the game's going to be at Wembley, but down in London, they always get a good atmosphere at Selhurst when they get in front. So it's going to be a cracking atmosphere, and but like we said before, it's a game that City are going to be huge favourites for. Yeah. It's going to be very similar. They're going to dominate possession, but Palace have got some special players that can be dangerous on the day.
Yeah, you've mentioned Eze. Ismail Assar scored 2 yesterday. Mateta's having a brilliant season. Adam Wharton in midfield. These are players that clubs like Manchester City, clubs at the sharp end of the Premier League, will be having a keen eye on.
Well, you look at Michael Olise. He left last summer. He's gone off to do brilliant things now. It's kind of a... I don't want to say a selling club because, they turned a lot of money down for Gay last year, so they can hold their own. But, these players, they want to play Champions League football. If certain bids come in for certain players, then it's going to be difficult to turn it down.
Going into a final, Manchester City against Crystal Palace, if the best version of Manchester City turn up, they win the game. It's as simple as that. And that's not feeling entitled or being disrespectful to the opposition. If the best version of us turn up, we'll be clear favourites to win it. And if we're at our very best, we'll have too much for Crystal Palace.
Yeah, just worth having a little glance towards the Premier League now. So because City have reached the final on May the 17th, that means that the Bournemouth game now won't happen when it's scheduled for, which was a late kick-off on the Sunday night on the 18th. We don't know when that'll be, but that will be rescheduled, so keep an eye out on City socials for that. Also, there's Friday Night Lights football this coming week. Manchester City against Wolves, and there are still some tickets available if you fancy it. I think we can show you a little graphic on the screen about that. It's a biggie. We've got the graphic for the league table as well. It's a biggie because Pep talked about this pre-match. He says that every league game is a final now. They're in a real final, and they've got, 4 more finals left in the league to get into the top 4. And there is how tight it is.
And it's, there's one or two who's got to play each other as well. So it's a matter, and Wolves are in form as well. So Friday night is a huge game.
6 wins on the spin, Wolves.
I was at Wolves earlier on in the season when I think it was a John Stones last gasp winner, which scrapes over the line. So, they'll be...
I think I did that game with you, Weaves.
Yeah, they'll be fancying their chances. So, listen, 4 massive games. You've got a cup final in the middle of it all. So, it's... but listen, City have been in press situations before. Look at the players that didn't come on today. So they can rotate a little bit. 1 or 2 might come back before the end of the season. Be lovely to see Rodri in the City shirt, just for, even if it's 10 minutes to the last game of the season, that'd be nice. So, plenty of positives, but, win all our games, I'm sure that we'll get where we need to get to.
In City's hands. What's your hunch, Andy? got enough to get into that top
It's
five?
so close. When you look at Forest, have got a game in hand. That'll take the wind out of their sails, and they seem to be a little bit, they're not in the form they were in. But I've looked at the fixtures over the last couple of days, and I'm not saying there's any easy run-ins, but there's other teams that have got really, really difficult fixtures where they play against each other, and playing against teams also that are pushing for Europa positions as well. So it's really, really tight. And we can only look after ourselves. I think we used to just hit the nail on the head there when we look at that bench. When you look at what we can start with Foden, Gundogan, De Bruyne, Doku, we can change it around in so many ways. Not the options that we had earlier in the season with the back line, which I'm happy with personally. And I know it's a big ask of these boys continually.
That back four is picking itself because
and it's getting clean sheets. And that's the key, and it just breeds confidence. You start getting them, you only need one goal. We're always good for 1 or 2 goals in every game. We're going to create opportunities. If we take them, we keep the back door shut. We're going to be a hard team to beat.
Yeah, so you just saw the graphic on behind us that there are still tickets available for Wolves this Friday night. You do love a game under the lights on a Friday night towards the end of the season. There you go. Get yourself to the City website and check that out. I think Manchester City reaching a third straight FA Cup final is the only major football headline around today. Don't bother Googling anything. I don't think anything else has gone on. You don't need to know about it. City are in the Cup final. We're going to leave you, though, with a very special trailer. Our wonderful team that put together so much brilliant coverage. I hope you've enjoyed today with myself, with Weaves and with Andy. They've put together another one of those brilliant documentaries. And the women today got a 1-0 win against Leicester, welcoming back a couple of key players. Lauren Hemp is back from a long injury. Alex Greenwood is back from a long injury. And Jill Roord has already returned from a horrendous injury. And there's a wonderful piece they've put together on her road to recovery. For now, we'll see you later. We're in the final.
Man City, they've only got 1 in, 1 out over the transfer window. Jill Roord.
British record transfer, Jill Roord.
Jill Roord's going to have a good year. I think she's got a point to prove.
It was pretty early on in the game, so after 8 minutes, it happened.
There could be some trouble here for Manchester City. Jill Roord went down.
Jill doesn't really ever go down. I've never seen her go down.
I think my reaction was pretty clear. Like, my family knew immediately that it was bad.
When you see a player go down like that, you obviously fear the worst. The minute she heard the word ACL rupture, the emotions kind of just took over.
Week after surgery was probably the most difficult week. Like, I really cried. But yeah, at the same time, I was also very happy because then the rehab starts. I'm someone who wants to do everything by myself. I don't like it if I have to ask for help. I realized, like, okay, this is gonna be a long journey.
The kind of person Jill is, she wants to know, right, okay, what's the process, what's the next steps?
It's actually nice to know that I can run, you know?
I think she was an inspiration to the other girls within the team as well, of how she'd approach the rehab.
Well, what about this for an applause? What an introduction for Jill Roord.